Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking in for a daily Move Swiftly thought, giving you a perspective on teamwork that you will not get anywhere else. As you can see, if you're a regular consumer of these videos, you see it's a little different scenery today. I've been dealing with an injury, have a little bit of tendonitis in my left knee, and my right ankle's a little bit swollen, so I had to stubbornly, I don't like doing this normally, but I had to, take the day off, give my body a little bit of time to get healthy. Do believe I'll be back at it tomorrow. Just went to the gym a little bit, did some rehabbing on the ankle, got on the bike a lot of low impact stuff, so my legs weren't being pounded and things like that. Just give myself some recovery. I won't start probably, if it bothers me tomorrow, I'll actually probably just get a ankle brace and get back to my running and things like that. Normally Wednesdays is when I do my track workouts with the Palm Beach Road Runners, and I knew based on the way my ankle felt this morning that there was no speed workout happening at all today. All right, no speed where I couldn't put that kind of impact on my ankle just based on how swollen it was and how my knee was feeling and all that. But anyway, as far as today's Move Swiftly thought, we're gonna kind of merge a full podcast episode with today's Move Swiftly. With today's Move Swiftly. Sorry about that. Right there we go. We're gonna merge a full podcast episode with today's Move Swiftly thought, because with everything going on. Show the cameras. All right. With everything going on in the sport I love, in football, and how it's all shaping out, we got pro days, we got, you're just starting to see that transition, right? We're starting to see the transition from college to the NFL. And if you keep up with my work, you know how much I talk about how much the NFL needs to go to a feeder system, and how passionate I am about the subject of football, and how much I've actually learned about life, about business, about everything through the game of football. And I think about it all the time, especially just seeing the young guys and, hearing the commentary and hearing everything that's going on. You just think about the guys. I've been blessed enough to play football for 4 different programs from when I was 7 years old all the way to 22 years old. It's my entire childhood, my entire college experience, school experience was wrapped around what I was going to do from a football standpoint. And to see certain guys, make it to the NFL, to see certain guys put on NFL uniforms and watch them do their thing, it's the marking of time, right? It's the marking of time, and it's an indirect way of telling me, as the person that used to be their teammate, used to be, someone that was a mentor, someone that was a friend, someone that was just there to, kick the breeze, talk shit, whatever, just guys growing up and developing. And so today's Move Swiftly thought, we're going to talk about it in particular. It's 6 different players that come to mind when you're thinking about those guys, and anyone that's ever played the game. And if you're lucky enough to have played the game played the game with programs and seen certain guys make it to the NFL, and or you were the one that made it, you understand where I'm getting at. All right, so the first experience playing football was with the White Oak Warriors, right? The Briggs Cheney White Oak Warriors. Before we became the White Oak Warriors, we were the Briggs Cheney White Oak Warriors, a Capital Beltway League, local league, and then we moved to the White Oak Warriors, in which we played, national competition where we traveled and things like that. I was a part of both programs. So before we became the White Oak Warriors, there were 2 guys that played that they weren't on my team specifically. One was a pound ahead of me, and the other one was a pound below me. And to see both of those guys go on and play in the NFL is something special. The first one was Joe Leffigan. Joe Leffigan was a pound ahead of me, and it was, because he was a pound ahead of me, our games on Saturdays would be right before his games. So I would find a quiet spot. I was a very reserved kid. I would find a quiet spot on the field wherever we were playing, whatever park it was, and I would just watch him and Jerron Pearson. Jerron Pearson was the tailback, Joe was the fullback, and I would watch them two just do it. Every single Saturday they would give me something. Every single Saturday they would give me something. And Joe, we tried to get Joe into good counsel and it didn't work out, but he went on to be the captain. He was a captain for the special teams for the Indianapolis Colts for several years. Several years he was the captain. I remember actually it was when RG3 was a rookie when they played the Redskins, and I remember watching that guy. But it was the same thing, watching that guy Joe Leffigan lead the Indianapolis Colts out of FedEx Field. And again, that is the dude. That's the guy that's doing his thing. And the other one that a lot of people know him now as a comedian, but I knew him as a football player. His name is Louis Young. And Louis Young actually not only did he play for the Briggs Cheney White Oak Warriors, but he also played at Good Counsel, my high school, my alma mater. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to my experience there in a second. But Louis Young, I knew about. He was a pound below me with the Briggs Cheney White Oak Warriors, and it would always be, right before we're coming out to games to get ourselves ready for our game, we see Lou Young do something major. We'll see Lou Young, be that guy that's dominant, and to be around that culture, that energy where you have NFL ambitions of making it to the league, and to see these guys extend and grow, it tells you indirectly to keep growing, keep going. There's absolutely nothing you can. In fact, I remember actually Lou Young said this on an interview when they were talking about his comedy career. He was talking about how when he played for the Denver Broncos, how look, this is millions of people watching me play. So, me going out and just killing it on the mic or being a comedian, I looked at it, that was easy. You fast forward to my senior year at Good Counsel, and it was a rough 4 years. I ain't gonna lie to you, it was a very, very rough 4 years, and that football program is what gave a shy, reserved kid like me the identity. People knew me as the football player. They didn't know anything else about me other than what I was as a football player. I was a captain my sophomore year, and my teammates voted me captain my senior year. And I remember our strength coach, Coach Sarr, and my linebackers coach, Coach Gant, they both pulled me aside. They both mentioned this guy to me my senior, and they said it with so much respect, so much class. And I'd grown to have that sort of relationship with my coaches at that point. And they said, look, no one's gonna ever take anything away from you when it comes to what you've accomplished here at Good Counsel. They're talking about me, your senior, what you did your junior year, the way you've put in your work, and you've proved people wrong, that you're the linebacker at Good Counsel. You're gonna lead that defense. You're gonna be that guy. But by the end of the season, I'm telling you, Aswand, when people think of Good Counsel linebackers, they're going to be thinking of Jelani Jenkins. All right, Jelani Jenkins was a sophomore my senior year, and I remember my coach just kind of telling me, putting it in my ear, look, you're the perfect role model for him, man. You're the perfect guy. You're humble, you work hard. He obviously has way more talent than you, way more ability than you, way more skill than you. But, when it comes to his mentality, when it comes to how humble he is, you guys are very similar in terms of your personality. And you are going to be the guy that he looks at his son. He's going to have a very long career in this game of football. He's going to be playing for years, all right? This high school thing is not going to be the end for him. College is not going to be the end for him. He's going to go and do some major things, and he's going to think of this year as his varsity year, his first year on varsity, and say, all right, this is where it all starts. And to see Jelani Jenkins put on a Miami, of all teams, a Miami Dolphins, I'm resident of South Florida now, to see Jelani Jenkins wear a Miami Dolphins uniform, and to see him, there was one year in which they were talking about him making a Pro Bowl. He was all over the field, making plays, doing things. And as I was transitioning into, what my role was going to be, again, I had that guy. I believe I was actually coaching. I was coaching at Blake. Yeah, I was a high school football coach. I was coaching the linebackers at Blake High School during, the highlight of Jelani's career in the NFL. And, I got a chance to be with Coach Gant, see Coach Gant, because Blake was right next to Good Counsel, and we'd have these conversations and see those guys. That was my high school experience. It took me right back to the high school experience, and how, again, this game is such a marking of time, and how much of ambition it wakes me up every morning to put in my work to make it so I don't stop. I never stop being that guy that is just out there trying. So, that was my youth and high school experience, to see those three guys. Whether it was, we used to call them, actually, when we tried to get Joe to get counsel, we used to call Joe had a nickname called Joey B. Joey B. So to see Joe Leffy get out there in the league, to see Lewis Young in the league, to see Jelani Jenkins in the league, that was, again, youth and high school football. To see those guys out there playing is something special. And when I get to the two college programs I played for, all right, there's another. I played for two college programs. The first one was a Division II school named Carson Newman College, and I committed to that school because of the high school I went to, and the fact that there was a possibility of me not sitting at the signing day table and not being a part of that signing day ceremony it didn't sit well with me. So I needed to just pick a school so I could be at that table. And, again, as the high school kid, I wanted to be recognized for being a football player. I wanted everything I did for the past 4 years to be validated, and I didn't think it was going to be validated if I didn't play college football and if I didn't sit at that signing day table, because that was my identity. I never had an actual girlfriend that went to the high school I went to. The girl I was with, I barely had to see her. She went to a different high school. And when I first took my visit to Carson Newman after signing day, after I made this the school that I was going to be at, the first person I meet, the first player I meet, Anthony Tribio used to call him Trib. Anthony Trib, man. And, he looks at me, tells me he's from Miami, baby, South Florida. Went to Northwest Bulldog, Northwest Bulls, which big public school out here in South Florida, way South Florida, way in Miami. And he gives me this look. There were two experiences, man. It was that moment when I first met him, and it's my first impression of Carson Newman. And then when summer workouts started, we had a strength coach who came in, and that strength coach was going to also be his defensive line coach. And as the strength coach was through talking and giving us the rundown of the way the summer is going to work, I remember Anthony stepped up. He stepped up as a leader, as he said, look, all y'all young freshmen, man, we all went through it. Y'all gonna have to just man up, because this ain't gonna be high school. This ain't gonna be, this ain't gonna be what you're used to. This is gonna be college football. And I remember he actually gave an entire speech with all of us as freshmen when everyone came in during the fall. And he asked everybody, hey, who was all conference this, all county, all state, whatever it is. And all of us as high school, well, I knew it was coming, but the other high school kids didn't know what they were being set up for. And then he goes, look, this is the last time you guys are ever going to be recognized for anything like that. This is college football, and now you're playing with some grown men. And to see that guy, to see Anthony Trivio, man, the guy out there, he was just, at a Division II school, because it's difficult at a Division II school to have that level of buy-in, knowing that he came from the South Florida area where you got guys, NFL guys coming left and right, for him to stay motivated and keep pushing, and to see him go on and have the career in the NFL that he had as a defensive lineman is just amazing. It's amazing in itself. And then, all these things were indirectly pushing me, because once I tore my ACL that freshman year, I could have gave up playing football. I could have, could have been over. That was it. It would have been so easy for me to pack it in, hey, get into coaching, get into life after sports. I worked actually at a health club where there was a ton of opportunity for me to just, start my career as trainer, physical fitness, all that. I remember actually meeting a single mom that year too, and there was a lot of signs and pointing and a lot of things that were made available to me that could have made it so I just settled for, life after football, the game's over, things of that nature. And then that guy again, Jelani Jenkins, signed to play for the University of Florida, be a Gator. He signed on national TV, and it was early February, and I watched him sign this national letter of intent while I was at work, while I was at Washington Sports Club. And it's like, look, you can't give it up, man. That is your motherfucker. Everything your coach told you your senior year, that's your boy. Jelani Jenkins is going to play SEC football, and then he's going to go on and have a great career in the NFL. And I got into Stony Brook, all my grades, it pushed me getting to Stony Brook, and going out of coming out of high school, I really wanted to go to Hofstra University. So, Hofstra University didn't want me out of high school, and I had some great conversations with Stony Brook University, and they liked me as a walk-on, and I had a slither of hope of playing Division I football, and to get into Stony Brook just off my grades and to go walk on to the football team. It was the very first person that actually welcomed me. The first teammate that actually embraced me was Michael Bomero. Michael Bomero, who was also a walk-on that year, and he bled. He loves it. He is Stony Brook football. He has two older brothers. One played for the Minnesota Vikings, if I'm not mistaken, David, and the other one, Solomon, who played basketball for the Harlem Globetrotters. That's two older brothers that played professional sports, and to have that guy, to have Michael Bomero come to me, and they used to call me Crunk back then, they called me Crunk because no one actually wanted to pronounce my real name, but to have that guy, Michael Bomero, embrace me and say, man, look, I don't want anybody not just you, I don't want anybody on this team feeling like they're an outcast or feeling like they don't have someone to talk to just because they're walk-ons or just because they come from out of state or whatever. And to have that guy embrace me, to have that guy, have conversations with them, to get drunk, get drunk and chase after women with that guy, to have the college experience with that guy, and then to look up two seasons later and to see him put on a Philadelphia Eagles uniform, to see him put on a New York Giants uniform, to make it to the NFL. It's a lot, it's a lot to think about, and it dictates and it makes me think about what my life is now and the role that I have now to the future generation of the future athletes, the future generations of football players, and what I need to be doing, the role that I need to be playing in their lives. Because it wasn't just Michael Bomero. You got to understand, there was a situation where Hofstra actually cut their football program. It's the rivals was Stony Brook football versus Hofstra University. It was a huge class because for the longest, Hofstra football had the upper hand, and it was that year that I first got there in which Hofstra cut their football program, and we got the dude, man. We got, and I'm sure it was a huge fight for Miguel Masonette. I'm sure there was a huge fight for Miguel Masonette. And when Hofstra cut their program, Miguel comes over to Stony Brook, and it just so happens that the star running back at the time, his name was Ed Gowans, he had a groin injury, and I remember looking at Miguel. We used to call him Miggy, but I remember that day that Miguel found out that Eddie was going to be out for the season, and it was like, look, it's time to step up, because he was still a freshman, Bomero was still technically a freshman, and they became roommates, and then we actually roomed together before that summer, so I got to know them, and to see those two embrace each other in an NFL game. One was with the Steelers, the other one, even though it's just a preseason game, one was with the Steelers, the other one, Miguel's with the Steelers, and Michael Bomero was with the Philadelphia Eagles, and to see them embrace each other and hug and make it, and that's what makes this game special, guys. That's what this pro day, that's what this draft, that's what the whole thing is all about. It's really embracing and ingratiating yourself, shading yourself in this game, and watching guys who have this dream go out and achieve things, go out and make things happen, not just for yourself, but for your family and for future generations. You're touching everyone, and you're indirectly telling everyone, hey, you do not quit, you do not go, you do not stop fighting for whatever it is you're trying to fight for, because people are watching, and that's me. That's how I'm able to wake up every morning and give you this content every single day. That's how I put these people on my heart. I mean, I know it may seem for the outsiders looking in that it's just Aswand turning on the camera and all right, he's just giving content, giving gems, giving this great energy. No, that's not the way it works. It's his life work. This is lifetime's worth of work, from when I was 7 years old all the way to now I'm 35. This is clearly nearly 2 decades of just embracing and being a part of something bigger than yourself, and that's what this whole thing is about. is making it so you continue to strive no matter what days, no matter how bad your days may get. Trust me, I've had some rough ones. We've had some rough ones, but even with the guys that I've just mentioned throughout this video, there have been some rough practices, rough days, it's been rough. But there's always that element, there's always that piece of you where you're understanding it's not just about you, you're part of something that's bigger than you, and you got to lean into that, and those are going to be the things that get you through. All right, so like I said, I know I went a little longer than normally when it comes to the move swiftly thoughts, but you know, that's the way I think. Those are when I'm seeing these guys. You know, we got pro days, we got March Madness happening. It's just a great time to be a sports fan, especially when you're talking men's basketball and football. You see these guys transitioning, you see these guys working hard, and you know the big thing, the big takeaway is understanding that everything you're going through right now, especially if you're a current player listening to me right now, everything you're going through, you don't know why you're doing it, but just know at some point it's all going to start to make sense. Because when you put your heart in something, when you start to really dedicate yourself to something, all of this stuff starts making sense, because you know what it is you want to do, you know what it is you will be dedicated to doing. And you will not quit. You will not quit because you just love the process, and you love the relationships, and you love the things that you get out of your everyday life, your every day-to-day things. You just love what you're getting out of your day-to-day activity. All right. Main website to check out to dive deeper into all my work, makeyourmove.com. That's MAKEYAMOVE.com. One-stop shop for all your teamwork and your self-development needs. Aswand Cruickshank, your one and only Move Swiftly speaker, checking out. You guys continue to move swiftly. We will talk more soon.